What if I told you that Europe's wealthiest nation, the country holding the entire European Union together, could collapse without a single missile being fired? This isn't an exaggeration. These are real problems happening right now, and most people don't realize it yet. Germany has a secret that no one likes to admit. For decades, it built its prosperity on three pillars, and all three are starting to crack at the same time. When most people think of Germany, they think of efficiency, BMW, Volkswagen, organization, and all of that is real. But behind that image of stability is a country that took huge risks over the last few decades, decisions that seemed smart at the time, but are now coming back all at once. At the worst possible moment, Germany is the engine of the European economy. When it struggles, the entire continent feels it. Today, we're going to look at Germany from a strategic point of view. No emotion, just facts. Germany came out of World War II destroyed like few countries in history. Cities in ruins, economy destroyed, divided for 40 years between capitalism and communism. This created two major characteristics in modern Germany. First, a strong dislike of militarism. The army, the Bundeswehr, was intentionally kept weak and dependent on NATO. For decades, this seemed like a smart decision. Today, it's a problem. Second, a planned economic dependence. Instead of heavily investing in the military, Germany focused on getting rich. Exports, industry, efficiency, and to keep costs low, it needed cheap energy. That energy came from Russia. The strategy worked for decades. But then, the world changed. In February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, the gas was cut off, Nord Stream was sabotaged at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. Overnight, Germany lost its main source of cheap energy. Prices shot up, chemical, metal, and other industrial sectors began shutting down or moving production abroad. Germany rushed to find solutions, bringing coal plants back online and speeding up LNG terminals, but at a much higher cost. Without cheap energy, German industry loses its advantage. Without that advantage, the economy shrinks. And when the economy shrinks, social and political problems start to grow. The Bundeswehr entered the 21st century in terrible condition. Stories about soldiers training with broomsticks instead of rifles, helicopters without spare parts, and submarines that couldn't even submerge became international headlines. In 2022, the government announced 100 billion euros to rebuild the military. But money doesn't create military power overnight. Training soldiers takes years. Producing equipment takes years. And Germany is trying to do all this while its economy slows down and its government faces political deadlock. Multiple crises are competing for the same limited resource taxpayer money at the most dangerous moment in decades. Where would a possible enemy start putting pressure on Germany? The East, former East German regions, are the least militarized, have weaker infrastructure, and provide direct access to the Baltic Sea, now one of the most tense areas in Europe. But the East isn't the only concern. The South also matters. The border with Austria, a neutral country, and the Czech Republic gives direct access to Bavaria, Germany's richest state and home to companies like BMW, Siemens, and Allianz. Munich is less than 100 kilometers from the Austrian border. Coordinated attacks in this region, sabotaged refineries or damaged power stations, could create a much bigger impact on an economy that is already fragile. Since 2022, Russian intelligence services have started recruiting temporary agents through Telegram. An anonymous contact, a simple task, a few thousand euros. Often, the recruit doesn't even know who they're working for. You can't get inside a network that doesn't exist. There's no leader to arrest. No organization to shut down, just isolated individuals acting alone. Without direct connections to each other, Germany has already arrested several of them. But the real question isn't how many were caught. It's how many were not.